Is this in any way something that they tried to shield you from?
Yeah, there was kind of a thing in my family. They didn't want any of me or my siblings to get into the...
Then you have this from Billy Bush, who of course is a great entertainment reporter in particular, weighing in on the fact that Romy Reiner, who is, I think, only 19 or 20, she's the one who found her parents with their throats slit and bodies stabbed multiple times. And there's new information in this soundbite. Listen here from Billy Bush.
I got this from a friend who lives in the community. I heard that the son, Nick, went into his parents' house, stabbed both mom and dad, and that the daughter, I guess, lives on the property or at the house or in the back house, and that she found them, and that the mom was still alive, and apparently she called the ambulance and went in the ambulance with her mother. Michelle died in the ambulance, but had enough time to tell her daughter that it was Nick, their son, who stabbed them, and that's why they figured it out so quickly, and he's in custody.
Romy Reiner will likely carry her mother's final words for the rest of her life, not as a quote preserved in public memory, but as a private echo that resurfaces in quiet moments when the world finally stops asking questions. Michelle Singer Reiner was known, by all credible accounts, as a deeply attentive and protective mother, someone whose love showed up in consistency rather than spectacle. For a daughter like Romy, that kind of presence doesn't vanish cleanly when a life ends. It lingers in habits, in instincts, in the way you hear a familiar voice advising you long after it's gone.
Jake and Romy Reiner released a statement today. They called their parents their best friends. They described unimaginable pain. They asked for compassion, and they didn't mention their brother by name. That silence says more than any press release ever could.
Whatever Michelle's last words were, they were almost certainly ordinary, concerned, loving, practical. And that ordinariness is precisely what makes them devastating. It is often the unremarkable moments that become unbearable after a sudden loss, because they were never meant to be final. This tragedy has the kind of weight that doesn't explode all at once. It settles. It presses down slowly, day after day, as Romy navigates a future that looks the same on the outside, but feels permanently altered on the inside. Losing a parent is always shattering. Losing a parent in a violent, public way fractures grief into pieces that don't fit back together easily. There is sorrow, yes, but also shock, confusion, anger, and a relentless sense of unreality.
My God. Romy's 28, FYI, but that's a critical piece of the prosecution's case right there, you guys. If it's called a dying declaration, it comes into court even though it's hearsay.
For Romy,
because it's
the
an
pain
out-of-court
is not
statement
just
by
that her
someone.
mother is gone, it's that the safety Michelle represented was taken without warning, without preparation, without the chance to say goodbye in a way that felt complete. What makes this loss especially breaking is the collision between private grief and public narrative. Romy did not choose to live her pain in headlines, yet the circumstances have ensured that her family's tragedy is discussed, dissected, and speculated about. That kind of attention can distort mourning. It forces a person to grieve while being watched, to process emotions while strangers project meaning onto them. Even silence becomes interpreted. For someone who has consistently chosen privacy, this exposure can feel like a second loss, the loss of control over how and when to remember the person you loved most. Michelle's role in Romy's life appears to have been grounding and steady, the kind of maternal presence that shapes how a child understands the world. When that anchor is ripped away, the damage isn't always loud. Often, it shows up as disorientation. Who do I call when I need reassurance? Who reminds me of who I am when I forget? Who notices the small changes before they become overwhelming? These questions don't arrive all at once. They surface slowly at birthdays, holidays, ordinary afternoons, moments when Romy reaches for a comfort that no longer exists.
Did your and completely on your comfort level of wanting to talk about these sort of
No.
things in your family? You
Yeah.
don't.
This kind of tragedy doesn't just break the heart, it changes the architecture of a person's inner life. Trust becomes harder. The future feels less predictable. Even joy can arrive with guilt attached because happiness feels like a betrayal of the love that was lost. Romy may find herself carrying her mother with her everywhere, not as a memory frozen in time, but as an ongoing conversation that never quite resolves. That can be beautiful, but it can also be exhausting. There is also the quiet devastation of unfinished sentences. Parents and children rarely say everything they mean to each other. They assume time. They postpone hard conversations and heartfelt affirmations because life feels long. When a life ends suddenly, those unsaid words don't disappear. They echo.
But a dying declaration comes in over hearsay objections. So if Romy Reiner is actually going to take the stand and repeat that her mother told her as she lay dying that it was Romy's brother, Nick, oh my God.
Romy may replay conversations, searching for meaning, wishing she had asked one more question or offered one more expression of love. That kind of internal replay can be relentless, especially in the early years of grief. And yet, what may ultimately break her is also what could one day remake her. Grief this deep strips life down to essentials. It forces clarity about what matters and what doesn't. Michelle's influence, her values, her care, her quiet strength did not end with her death. It lives on in Romy's choices, in the way she treats others, in the boundaries she sets to protect her inner world. The tragedy will forever be part of her story, but it will not be the only chapter. Still, it would be dishonest to pretend this loss won't leave permanent marks. It will. Romy will move forward carrying a version of herself shaped by absence. She may become more guarded, more reflective, more attuned to the fragility of ordinary